Community-focused arts event space with 22 studios. That's what the Somerset is, but what the Somerset represents is Frome's creative entrepreneurial spirit, and that is what Acorn Scheme totally and completely throws in the bin. So for me, the future of Frome depends upon how Saxonvale is going to be developed.
We see a housing crisis. Homes treated as commodities to be bought and sold, as deposit boxes to be invested in, not lived in. We see towns and cities that reflect the highest bidder and not the people who live in them. We are already working with different communities, testing different models of how built-in common could work. Built-in common takes home building out of the hands of large profit-driven companies and puts it into the hands of the local people.
I'm Irena. I'm an architect and built-in common architect.
The construction industry has a lot of money in it. This leads to exploitation and to less than transparent deals between politicians and developers. Built-in common is an attentive approach, and we need exemplars such as Mayday campaign to demonstrate that a different way of placemaking is possible and that we can create social value from the process. So please support this campaign.
We design, plan and manage landscapes designed to reduce flood risk. All these opportunities could create jobs. It's seductive, you know, what you'll probably get is something that looks like that. We live in this beautiful town. There's not a huge amount of car traffic there. You've got nice materials. You've got the real on Cheap Street where kids play. The village makers, they're developers and house builders. The buildings don't line up. It encourages social interaction. You look out onto shared gardens. You can construct these houses in 8 to 10 weeks, fully finished, whereas in a typical construction period it's 6 to 9 months. It can be as simple as the silk mill. You know, for me this is a place. People come here, they coalesce here for parties, for events, for all sorts of things that bring people together. And you know, what happens here in the next few years will, I believe, shape the future of the town.
Neighbourhood plan's vision and core objectives. You know, if we can't save Saxonvale, then I fear for us because it's such a wonderful opportunity to master plan for the site. And then things kind of started to change a little bit when the person who actually kind of commissioned that report left Mendip, and then the neighbourhood plan basically wanted to reinforce that by putting it in as a policy. Janet Cheesley cut away lots of the stuff that Mendip was seeing as a bit starry-eyed and woolly, which was basically things around creating communities and Saxonvale, co-housing. It wasn't allowed to be called co-housing, it was called community housing. So you've got no choice other than to accept what the examiner says. TC5 plans for the redevelopment of Saxonvale should seek to achieve an overall vision for the redevelopment of the site based on the 2005 planning brief. So the examiner basically said, your policy just makes the scheme completely viable. That's basically why it's not really strong in the neighbourhood plan.
Developers, they tend not to invest in landscape, and they tend not to see the value in it, and they tend to bring you in when they've already sort of got planning. And you come to them and say, look, if you'd worked with us a year ago, you'd be saving yourself a third of the costs. You wouldn't be having to do this thing called sustainable drainage, where you dig a hole, a massive great hole under a car park, fill it with plastic crates so it's a void, and then just tarmac over the top of it. And so we sat around the table with the development manager.
You can see there is
the
an
regional
example when you talked about the fact that it's saving money.
What was their rationale for your presentation around green infrastructure? They try and present it as a sustainable, innovative development. But if you look underneath, I think there's a lot of questions around that.
Really dynamic community, they're not going to settle for anything, second best. And they say, yes, you're absolutely right. And then we put, presentation, imagery, and all this sort of stuff, exemplar schemes, and they just nodded, yes. But the reality is that they'd already designed the scheme.
Yeah.
They'd finished it. And when they came for public consultation, they felt they'd bottomed it out.
My name's Rick Swan, so I'm the chair of the Frome Civic Society. We've seen the same image over and over and over again. The only difference is that initially there were very wobbly lines, and those lines have got harder and stronger. But there are some fundamental problems with the scheme that we have seen right from the beginning. The first one, I think, being the density, the amount, is extreme. And being on a northern-facing slope, the overshadowing from those buildings is going to be extreme. The argument is that that's what's needed to give the developer the profit that they need for this site.
Is this an outline plan or is this a detailed plan?
This is an outline application, so it's an outline for access only, or there will probably be several applications for the detailed design, will be based on what is established in this application.
Once that's got loads of flats on there won't be anywhere for the town to expand.
One of the ironies of this is that actually within the local plan, the big issue about Frome in itself is that it has quite a large population for the amount of employment. And so the local plan is set up to actually try and improve the situation and get more work and more jobs in Frome, pro rata to the amount of housing. But what's actually happening, of course, is because of national policy, it's very difficult to stop the housing developments going ahead. So you're getting a huge explosion of housing, but that's generally on big employment sites. So you've got a double whammy of more and more housing and less employment. Blended, as the site owner and the developer, is actually proposing to breach its own policies.
Long-term investment in the future of the town, surely,
Agreed.
I think, I don't know if everybody disagrees with that, I totally agree with it, and that's the argument that they're making.
Hearing about what Devon has sort of been exposed to, and I guess the activity of the local authority, using public money for private profit, and that's not okay. If they did take a longer term perspective, like we're suggesting, there are a myriad of ways that you could do something more exciting and still make profit, but it would just be over another 20 years as opposed to in 10 years.
The challenge with all these sort of sites, and which may well include future sites that come on, is how we shift the business profit to social profit. It's how we address those sites as well as what's happened at Saxonvale. What we're here saying, yes, it is outlined, and I'd like to think there will be potential when they get down to the detail to challenge it. But Rick is right.
In a way, the challenge that we face is the challenge that towns up and down the country are facing. We are going to have to revitalise our town centres. The only reason those houses are there, in the density that they're there, is to return an overage profit to the district council and to a profit to the developers. Now that is not in the interest of Frome.
It may not be the interest of Frome, but it may be the interest of the wider community, i.e. Mendip. It's not, in some quarters, it's not about Frome, it's about Mendip.
Yeah.
And that's part, and maybe that's part of the problem.
That was actually been said to me by a district council officer. They said, well, the survival of our organisation is to the public benefit.
Is the Saxonvale development only residential, or is it residential and shops? If it is residential and shops, how are the two centres going to join up?
got all the houses in one part of the site, which is the vast majority of the site, and then you've got, a sort of quite modest sort of commercial development around New Town Square, which will be kept onto this site. So effectively, the town centre will stop once you get to the end of the town square.
And one of the arguments that the architects using is they say, well, the density is about the same as the Trinity area in Frome, But it's very, very different from the Trinity area.
Was built before anybody had cars.
And then
so just bear with me for a minute. So the thing about the Trinity area of Frome, as we all know, is Weavers' housing, very tight, narrow terraces, very close together, and they were kind of the original live-work unit. So contrast that with what's actually proposed, which is flats, so kind of larger blocks of flats. I would much rather see a kind of Trinity-like development for Saxonvale than those blocks of flats, just because they're flexible. And we know that for 300 years we've been building buildings which have survived that length of time because they've been turned into shops, offices, cafes, hairdressers, back into offices. And I think that's one of the key issues really, is we've got to look long term, that we're building things that have longevity, that are going to be sustainable over a long period of time. The trouble with the 20th century is we built things that were easy to put up, and then 30, 40 years time, they're useless. I mean,
it doesn't suit Frome.
It's a city thing.
They're marketing it as high quality, high value. In fact, it's not going to house our children.
No.
It's going to house people who've got money and will come into Frome because it's a wonderful place.
And then where are they going to park all their cars? Because they won't work in
And are you sure they
Frome.
want to live in flats?
The question for me, and it is related to Trinity, is what are we and the rest of the people in Frome going to do? Trinity was saved by people power. It was really, the whole lot was really raised around. And I think we're beyond, I love what you're saying. I love the idea of that. I feel very depressed at what we're talking about. We need to get into action. And there's an architecture club in Frome, there's sustainability in Frome, there's the town council. It's like, where is everybody? We really can't just sit here talking. As I understand it from what you're saying, we have to have a real action plan.
I think that's why we're here. This is a launch event really to try to initiate this campaign. I mean, there is a priority here and an urgency in that we need to raise the money for the judicial review because we're taking the district council to court to try to stop this process.
Amending the site. They are the client. They are the developer.
That planning department and the ownership, they say it's separate.
The course was set by the Conservative Council, and it's now on autopilot, and it's just developed, as I was saying earlier, by the architect, who hasn't really changed their scheme very much, and say, look, you own this site, we really don't think this is good enough.
So do you mean write to our local ward councils? I wrote to them saying, what are you doing to stop the flawed being the operative word, that it's not fit for purpose? And they just wrote back saying, why would you want to stop it going through? And I sent them back the Civic Society's whole report saying, well, I think they've summed it up quite well there. It's not wanting to stop anything happening, it's wanting the right thing to happen.
Maybe Saxonvale is a crowd-funded campaign to bring about this judicial review of Acorns of Fundament.
If it gets through, even if we can prove that it's been illegal, there have been illegal things going on the way there, once it's been determined, it'll stand. Also, if you're thinking about pledging, or if you've got friends who might pledge, or if you can think of any people who think that justice should be done and don't have anything to do with Frome. I mean, it's an important principle at stake here. Please ask them to pledge.